You never know what's going to happen when you preach a sermon, and I was a little nervous because I want to talk about the Lord of the Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings. I'm not on geek level Lord of the Rings, and I found that really quickly after the first service because I thought like no one's going to get that. In fact, I didn't ask, hey, any Lord of the Rings fans, because I knew there'd be maybe crickets, and then I'm in trouble because no one's going to get the reference at all. But I had all kinds of corrections from people who knew far more than me. So I was like, this is heavily edited from earlier, because Lord of the Rings is tough. Tolkien was a Christian, and I think a lot of his faith went in there, and he was trying to tell the story of how Jesus triumphs over the devil, over the forces of darkness, in a way that people could maybe have access to and understand. But again, for a lot of people, it's just fantasy. It's a lot of violence. The movies are pretty gory. But there's one scene in the second movie that always stands out. And when I was reading the beginning of Mark's Gospel, I kept hearing that phrase, and so it begins. If you've ever seen that movie, there's this great big battle. Right, Helm's Deep, I think, it's like there's walls, and the bad guys, right, these orcs that are like these demons with armor, and they are just ready to go and just destroy everybody in this, that are the humans that are trying to sort of be safe, and it looks really bad, and it's something really awful is about to happen, and one of the kings, he says those words, so it begins. And you're watching the movie, and you're like freaking out. You're going, uh-oh. The bad guys are going to win. They're going to burn this thing to the ground. They're going to just destroy everything and everyone. It's going to be horrible. What are we going to do? And in that movie and in a lot of the movies, these Lord of the Rings movies and others like it, those words, so it begins, it sets something off in you. That something ominous is about to happen, something that you better pay attention to. And in a lot of those movies, something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Like, how is that going to happen? There's an urgency there. There's a battle that's going to take place. And throughout all of those movies, there's a lot of battles, and you see, right, the light wins. The darkness doesn't have a shot. And I want us to see the beginning of Mark's Gospel, and really all the Gospels, and the things that Jesus did in an urgent kind of way. I don't want us to just look at the beginning of what I just read and say, oh, well, he healed somebody, cool. Jesus is a healer, right? If I have a boo-boo, he's going to take care of it, and that's good, he does. But, I don't know, you probably saw the word demon a couple of times in the beginning of Mark's Gospel. And I'm including it in this, what I'm going to preach on today. So we're going to do Mark 1:21 to 39, because it really stood out to me. I'm like, why do we skip this? Right? Like we can't have it in church. We can't talk about demons in church, even though it's real. I think the reason why demons and demonic activity, and we're shocked, man. We see something on the Grammys and we freak out. And we go, oh, there's satanic stuff on television. Well, yeah, you see it a lot. It doesn't always look like devil horns and fire and all that, but it's if it's not from God, it's from the devil. Right? And we should watch, and we should question it. Because it's real. Because either that stuff is real, either the battle is real and the war is real, or most of this is just made up. And I fear that sometimes maybe we treat it as such, especially the battle, the spiritual battle that we're in. That we don't take it as seriously as we should. And when I look at those Lord of the Rings movies, I'm like, whoa, I really don't take spiritual warfare. I really don't take what Jesus came to defeat seriously at all. I don't look at that as reality. I look at, I want to see something that's neat and clean and nice and not threatening at all. But I know, and you feel it. See, the devil didn't just lay down and die after Jesus went to the cross and rose. He didn't see Easter Sunday and go, all right, boys, pack it in, we're done. He won. All right, we send the T-shirts, right, to children in Africa. They had, devil had like victory shirts that he had printed up, at the end there, but they had to give them away. No, he had more printed. He's like, we win. We win. We win. That's what he wants us to see. And he doesn't want us to notice that he's the one preaching it and the one saying it. Look at Mark chapter 1. We're gonna go back to verse 21. And you'll see why in a minute. Because I love Mark's gospel because Mark's gospel is it's shorter. And it is like, it's the action gospel. Man, it is like, right? And I'm wired that way. My wife will tell you, I don't do anything slow. I don't walk slowly from place to place. I'm like, oh, gotta go. I talk real fast. You know that. I get a 45-minute sermon, man. I get it into like 20. That's what I do with rapid fire. It's the way you do it. And that's the way it is. You'll see the word immediately over and over and over and over and over again because you see right away you could almost put that words. It should start with, so it begins. John is there, prepares the way for Jesus. He is baptized, right? 12th verse in. The temptation is there. Jesus begins his ministry, calls his disciples, and immediately it is on. Look at this, 21 verses in to the gospel. They're at Capernaum. It's on the Sabbath. They are in church, man. They're in the synagogue. This ain't out in some scary place. This is like in a church. Could you imagine? And there's a dude with a demon. Did anybody see this? I don't hear much talk about this. He starts teaching. See, that's the thing. For he taught them as one who had authority. Jesus didn't teach like the scribes. Scribes secondhand. I'm preaching what God has told me. See, I don't want you to miss this. The powers of darkness, sin, death, the devil, all of that, their day got ruined because Jesus is God teaching. Right? He's not teaching about something else. He's teaching about him. He is here. The ruler now is here. The devil may think he had free reign and he could do whatever he wants, but no. Bethlehem happened. Christmas happened. He's here. The kingdom here. The real ruler here. Death's time, the devil's time, his free reign over. Days are numbered right here. Right here, he begins to teach. Now, it just sounds like he began to teach. But what do you think he began to teach? About how many angels dance on the head of a pin? Do you think Jesus was unpacking that? No, he was unpacking the kingdom of God. Come here. Repent. Repent. The devil doesn't like that. The devil gets very upset. And evidently one of the demons does. One of his boys does. Because there's a man with an unclean spirit and he cries out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us?" I know who you are. Ironically, I don't think anyone else knew. Jesus knew who he was. But you think there was really anyone else who knew that he was the Son of the Holy One of God at this point? Yeah, the disciples following him. But you'd say something when the demons know, and they are flipping out. They're like, "Oh no, you've come." They know what's going to happen. Do you see what I'm seeing? See what I'm seeing? Like this is war. This war is starting, and they feel it. And what does Jesus do? He says, "Shh, zip it." Says, write that to the demons. There's no Lord of the Rings fanfare. There's no giant armies, right? Because Jesus is an army of one. He fights with truth, right? He fights by dying for us. That's how he defeats devil. That's how he defeats death and Satan and all that would come against us. And all Jesus has to say is, shh, 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 come out of him. Of course, the unclean spirit convulses the man. He's going to get a couple licks in before he goes, but he's got no other choice. That's the point. With a loud voice, he goes out of him, and everybody's amazed, probably the understatement of the century, and they're questioning among themselves. They start talking. They're like, who? What just happened? Like, who? They didn't see this sort of thing happening. A new teaching with authority? It wasn't a new teaching. It had authority. This is the promised one of old. He's here. He commands even unclean spirits, and they obey him. And it says, at once, his fame spread everywhere throughout all the surrounding region of Galilee. And then immediately, there it is, boom, that action word. Here we go. It's almost like Mark can't wait to tell you that they go from the synagogue, they go to Simon's house. Simon and Andrew are there, Peter, James and John. Simon's mother-in-law is ill. She's burning up. She literally has a fire, a fever. And they immediately told them about her. So he goes, again, no Hollywood theatrics. He just takes her by the hand. And the fever leaves her, and she goes and serves them. She's back to life as she knows it. And so it's sundown, right? The sun's setting. And the word got out. So there's all these sick people at the doorstep. And people who were oppressed by demons. There it is again. And the whole city gathered together at the door. And he healed many who were sick with various diseases. And he cast out many demons. He's going to war with the powers of darkness, with sickness, with death, with disease. He's going to all these things that came as a result of the fall, right? That came into this beautiful thing that God had created and totally destroyed it. God is going to make it new. And Jesus is here to bring the news and to be the one to bring and usher that in. But he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. And all of this was going to happen not on their time, but on his time. Not their plan, but his plan. His timing, perfect. So he's come to defeat these demons. In fact, if you look at 1 John chapter 3, this is another one that just kind of jumped out at me this week. In this section, John is talking about sin and practicing sin, and in other words, if you don't care and if you're just out there sinning, he's like, that's not a good thing. You've been deceived, and you just can't do that. That's not compatible with the Christian life to keep on making a practice of sinning. He says, no one born, right? Because that person is of the devil, right? The devil has been sinning from the beginning. That's what he does. And listen to this. He says, the reason the Son of God appeared was to destroy the works of the devil. And what I hope we see is that when we hear about Jesus preaching, when we hear about Jesus teaching, it wasn't just a good sermon about the best you can be. He was preaching. He's saying, look, sin kills, death is real, but I've come to destroy the works of the devil. That puts a whole different spin on how I approach sin, how I approach life. Like, how can I jump in with all of that if he came to destroy it, if he died and rose to destroy it and to destroy its power over me? If that wasn't the content of his preaching, was that amazing defeat of death, defeat of Satan, defeat of all of those things and the darkness. Look at John's gospel, constantly talking about how there's this darkness and the light comes in, and the darkness just it can't exist with it, and so it's cast out. So we're to walk in the light as he is in the light. That's what's going on when he's preaching. That's what goes on when he's healing, when he's doing these things, when he's going toe to toe with demons, which he does so often. And with no human effort, no physical exertion, they stop what they're doing. And they leave. Now, sometimes they go into a bunch of pigs, and the pigs go over there, right? You remember that story. But they have to obey. They have to obey. And what if we believe that? Like, could we believe that? Could we say that that's the kind of power Jesus has? That's who he is. That's what this passage is trying to scream out. Like, do you get it? You get how powerful he is? Do you get what he's able to do? Do you get what he was able to do and is doing right now in people's lives? It's incredible. And even when it's early in the morning, Jesus goes out, he goes to that desolate place, he goes and he prays. He prays. Because he knows how important that connection is with the Father, that this mission is so important. Think about all that Jesus has just encountered in that short span of time. Like a slew of demons and people sick and all of that. Like right from the get-go. How do you feel your first day on the job? I don't know about you, but I want to wade in a little bit. It's like, all right, day one, the force of darkness, I'm just like, here we go. And he's praying because he knows. I think he wants us to see how important it is and how it's two-way. I feel like sometimes my prayers, and I'm getting this from John Piper. I think it's John Piper. He said that prayer has turned into, for many of us, an intercom during peacetime. I buzz God. We do this, don't we? Does your prayer look like this? Hey God, having a tough time here. My grandma's sick. Okay, and the dog needs an operation. I have a math test. I don't know how many. And we hit that, and we're shocked maybe that he answers us back. The quote says that prayer really needs to be more like walkie-talkies in a battle. That's what it's supposed to be. Where I need that constant contact with my commander, with the one who won the war for me. I need to know, where do I go? What do I do? Where is safety? Where is that next objective? Where are we gonna? What thing are we gonna go after now? Because Jesus said the gates of hell won't prevail against his church, against his mission, against who he is. That's our posture. We're not cowering, going, oh no, the bad guys are gonna get us, like in the Lord of the Rings. We're like, no, let's open the gates, let's go. Let's storm their castle. I mean, that's fitting for what Jesus is doing here, isn't it? If we would just say, well, let's go. So it begins. And the strength is him. It's his strength. He has what I need. So I think what I want to do, and I hope we do this, is to listen more, to be praying with Scripture in hand and hearing from him. Because I think what I do is it's like Amazon, right? God's become like, right? I log on the app, I find the guitar stuff that I want, right? And I hit place order, and I wait for it to arrive. And I place my order of what I need him to do, and I hope he just does it. But God actually talks to us. He's actually saying, hey man, when I read this, there's some people that are battling demonic forces, and they need my help. They need to know who God is. They need to know how great God is. He, as I said in the kids' message, we get something. We get a message from him that we desperately need. I'm not alone. God's got me. He's with me. He is there. He's going to give me what I need for this battle that I'm going to face today. I want us to be listening, expecting that he is not just answer the prayer. In other words, fulfill my Amazon order. So the truck shows up and the package is there. Because maybe he wants me to go and deliver something to somebody else, right? A message of hope, a message of love, some support, some care. Because he does. So he's praying, right? And Simon been looking around for him. They find him, and they're like, all right, everybody's looking for you, Jesus. Let's go. And Jesus says, okay, let's go on to the next towns. I want to preach. I got to preach there also. He says, for that is why I came out. That's what this is all about. Not just in this one place. He says, guys, you're going to see this happen everywhere. I'm going to go, there's going to, right? And it's what he says. He says they went out throughout all of Galilee, the whole region. They were preaching in their synagogues and casting out demons. Whoa. And so it begins. And as you look at it's just this battle. It's relentless. Them coming against him and Jesus, not flinching, and just power over all of these things. His ultimate power on the cross. I just want us to see that. That's the one who fights with us. Who fights in our corner, who's there. He's already won that victory. He wants us to embrace that victory and say, you know, that victory was for me, because it is rough. It is difficult. There are things that come against us. If you've ever read the Screwtape Letters, anybody ever read C.S. Lewis, Screwtape Letters? I think the book, doesn't it start with like a warning not to read it all at once? One of those great books, like, dude, this is like meant to, like, short spurts. Don't just take this all in right away. Because it's dark. It's a little insider to what the demons are doing. And I know that even saying that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Like, Pastor, demons. Can't talk about that, church. But it's real. And it doesn't need to cause us to lose hope. Because we see what Jesus does to them. We see that they have no other choice but to obey. What we see in here that he's come to rule, he's come to reign and make us his people, and that we can know who he is, and we can know his love each and every day, and we can join him on that mission. That's where this goes. When we're praying, he's going to be like, hey, we get some mission objectives, we get some things, some people that need to hear. And honestly, it might just be some people who need me to listen. Where I understand what's going on in their life. And point to him, who is the one who made a way for us, who died for us and rose for us and gave us that victory. So I pray let's get excited about that mission. Let's get excited about the destruction of that enemy that Jesus came and that he did. And we know his ultimate end. Remember the Revelation series a couple years ago? We've read to the end of the book. And we I think we forget that we know the ending. Devil gets cast away forever. There's a new heavens and a new earth. A place without all this. I want us to see that he's already done everything to make that a reality, and it's just a matter of time. And we're just waiting for him to come back. And that's the mission, man, because I don't want anybody that I know to miss that. How about you? I want them to know his love. I want them to know this eternity that we have with him. And his name, it's his name we trust and believe.